Joining me now on the Cam Rogers Show is Dave Kaval, president of the Oakland Athletics. Dave, appreciate the time, sir. How are we doing out there in sunny California?
We're doing great. Thanks so much for having me on the show. Look forward to it.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you. And Dave, let's talk about the Athletics. They will eventually become the only major sports team in Oakland because, of course, the Raiders are moving on and the Golden State Warriors are going to San Francisco. How do you think that'll affect fan attendance and excitement around the A's?
Well, it's obviously a big deal. We have 50 years of history in Oakland. You know, we have a great, strong fan base. And I think being the only team left in the East Bay in Oakland, I think it actually our connection with the community. And I think in some ways, there's a sense of responsibility that we have as an organization that we're the last team left, that we are that key force for community pride, and we can ensure that our team can represent the region in a positive way.
Well, there's no doubt been plenty of developments here, Dave, in your hunt for a new stadium. You've been very vocal that you want to leave as many options open as possible in Oakland. What are the latest developments here in this stadium search?
Well, we're parallel pathing two sites. One is at the waterfront at Howard Terminal near Jack London Square. Beautiful location. It's more of an urban location, a little industrial. And then our second location where we can build is at the Coliseum, where we are right now. And it's really important, especially because we had a preferred site last year that fell through, that we keep all our options open in Oakland, ensure that we can get an economic deal with the city and the county by the end of the year so we can open our new ballpark in 2020. So we're working diligently on both sites to make sure we can make that a reality. And we're making a ton of progress and having a lot of great updates this year and into next year.
That's a very exciting storyline indeed. I guess, Dave, the real question is, are you going to have an extremely long outdoor bar, kind of like Avaya Stadium there in San Jose?
I think there's a good chance. I could break my own Guinness record that we had at the soccer stadium, largest exterior bar in North America. We're going to have a lot of the same similar types of communal and gathering places at the new A's ballpark in Oakland. Places like the tree house that we built at the Coliseum, where you don't necessarily have a seat per se, but you have an area where it's terrace seating, soft seating, kind of almost like a bar feel where you get views of the action. That is what younger fans and just a lot of people are for in baseball and sports, and we want to provide that at the new ballpark.
And of course, you're basically going through your second season here with the Oakland Athletics. And I do want to ask you about the differences between running an MLB franchise and an MLS franchise like you previously did with the San Jose Earthquakes.
Well, I have to tell you, the sports are at very different stages. You know, baseball is probably the most traditional and really oldest of the professional sports in America or North America. And so there's more traditions, there's more things that have been built up over time. It's obviously a bigger. But by the same token, many of the things I learned in running the soccer team and being involved in the leadership of Major League Soccer about acquiring new fans and actually, especially connecting to younger fans, important. And so that learning and porting that over to baseball has been critical for our success in Oakland and across the league. So there's certainly differences. You know, it's been fun to kind of compare and contrast, and someone who's run teams in two leagues to understand kind of both the pros and cons of the different setups.
Let's talk about the team itself, huh? The A's currently sit fourth in the AL West standings, but they're actually just 6.5 games back of the Seattle Mariners here. As we continue on this month of June, Dave, what are your impressions of the team so far?
Great season. We have a great young team of players, like a nucleus that we can build around that can be a contending squad. We've struggled with a lot of injuries in starting pitching, but the position players, whether it's Matt Chapman at third base and at first base, who's really heated up, or Jed Lowry, who's having an all-star season at second base. These guys are playing together as a great unit. Bob Melvin, our skipper, has done an incredible job. And Billy Beane and David Forrest, our executive operations and GM, have really built a great team, and one that I think people can get excited about for many years. And so this was a year where we wanted to see progress on, the pitching staff as well as the starting lineup. We're seeing that. We're in a very difficult division, World Series champions, the Houston Astros. And so we want to do everything we can to compete in that division, to make sure we're contending for a playoff spot. And we're doing that right now. And we're in it. We're in the conversation. We're probably a little ahead of the schedule that we kind of foresee here. And so we're just taking it one series at a time and making sure that we have more and more success as the season continues.
And some big-time opponents coming up next, no doubt about that. The A's are rolling along nicely here. All right, Dave, so you mentioned this before the interview in our production meeting, if you will, how there's just so much to talk about in the sporting sphere as we stand. I do want to ask you about the latest big-time story across the NFL, which has recently etched into legislation the new national anthem policy, essentially requiring players to be on the field, stand, or be in the locker room. Does that open up a new conversation within the MLB, but also within the Athletics?
Well, I think sports have always been a platform where social issues are discussed. And, this goes all the way back to Muhammad Ali, or if you look at what down in the Mexico Olympics, who are all from San Jose and things like that, the Bay Area. And often the Bay Area and markets like this are at the center of that. And so I think we have to understand that the conversation is going to occur. We have to give it the space for it to occur. But by the same token, we have to make sure we do it in a respect of fans and of the community and society in general. And so that's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to be in a position to facilitate that and make sure that not only our fans, but our players can express their voice, but do it in a responsible way. And we think that that's exactly what's been happening.
And the discussion will certainly roll on, no doubt about it here. All right, Dave, let's talk about the NBA Finals. What a series it is. It's Warriors, it's Cavs yet again for the fourth time in a row. Do want to talk to you about LeBron James. You, of course, are from Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm sure you've been watching LeBron and the greatness that he has been putting on display so far in this postseason. What do you make of his play?
Well, it's incredible to see really the level he's playing at, his efficiency. I mean, he's really carrying the entire team. And I think more than anything, to watch this finals, I was at game one, to see some of the greatest players in the history of the game, whether it's Curry, Klay Thompson, LeBron James, all on the same court. They're going to be talking about these series and these four matchups for generations to come. And so fun to see that. There's a great theater to it of all the different characters and how it's kind of unfolding. And I think because of that, it's great entertainment and it's great for sports. And for the Bay Area community living here 25 years, kind of the rise of the Warriors and the success that they've had is something that I think a lot of people didn't foresee. And it's exciting to see that. So this matchup is incredible. I think it's going to continue on. I think the Cavs will probably, and it should be a really exciting finals.
I do just want to ask you from a macro perspective. It seems like, Dave, we are in a moment where we are just witnessing greatness, like you said, from many different perspectives. Steph Curry from beyond the arc, LeBron James carrying a team, the list goes on. So I think it brings in a lot of non-Cavs and non-Warriors fans to the fray because you are just witnessing something that maybe perhaps we won't see for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, you could go 10 or 15 years and watch a sport and not see the quality of play that you're seeing now. The type of team that, Kerr and the Warriors and Bob Myers have put together that's really a shooting first team. It's something that if you think back to the Pistons and even the Bulls, that's not the way those teams were constructed. And so it's a different type of basketball. It's fun to watch. And I think baseball can learn from that. And I think the biggest thing is really you have to showcase your players. People get connected to the players. They want to know about their backgrounds on and off the court or the field. And I think that's an area where baseball could do a better job of really, whether it's Altuve or Trout or Ohtani, and making sure fans are connected to those players beyond just kind of the tribal nature of baseball to have your local team, whether it's the A's or the Yankees or the Orioles. And so I think that's always an exciting thing for me as being in sports, to see what the other leagues are doing, to learn from the pros and cons, and to build that. business ideas in mind.
Kaval, ladies and gentlemen, president of the Oakland Athletics, one of the best in the business, and of course, very gracious with his time as well. Dave, certainly appreciate having you on the Cam Rogers Show. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.